your man, the Deacon, Dejan Jernigan, Director of Recruiting with California Recruits. I'm just excited to have you guys on with me today. Uh, Man, we've got a lot to talk about, in this particular meeting today. And so I want to make sure that we're dealing with that stuff today. Okay, we want to deal with it, talk to you guys about what's going on. Today, I want to talk to you about the difference between a prospect and a recruit. A prospect and a recruit. And again, talk to you a little bit more about why right now is one of the best times for you to be in the process, or best time for you to be working with some type of service, just based upon the day and time that we live in recruiting. So to all those that are watching on Twitter, all those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, this video will stay up there for you parents. I know we're coming down, today is the 20th, and we're coming down to the end of a we're coming down to the end of camp season. And so a lot of different goals and dreams and things that are happening and during camp season. So I want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on with camp season, understand that during camp season, what the expectation is. Our goal at California Recruits is always to make sure that we are managing your expectation in the recruiting process. Okay. And so those that are actually working with us as a service, working with us at California Recruits, we want to make sure that you really understand what's going on. I know a lot of you guys are, and I talked about it last week, are coming out of camps and you're excited, but you want to manage your expectation because by the time we get to, and if you look at the ticker, by mid-July, at the end of July, a student athlete's chances of being recruited by Division I school goes down by about 45%. So if you are not actively talking to a Division I school through the summer, and I'm going to give you today some of the lingo. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the things that coaches are going to talk to you about at the end of camp. You're going to start getting over the next couple of weeks. And the next couple of weeks, you're going to start getting, we want to see your first 3 games, and we want to see your first 5 games. And I'm going to give you parents a tell sign. I give you guys, the number one rule with California Recruit. What we want to know is the number. Coach, how many guys are you recruiting at my position is your number one question. That has changed a little bit because of the portal. So when you start talking about how many guys are you recruiting at my position, you may have to ask how many of that, if it's a multiple number, how many of those guys are going to be high school guys versus guys you're going to go recruit out of the portal, because the reality is they are going to recruit out of the transfer portal. And so why we say about midway or at the end of July, and I'm giving you end of July, I think it's more depending on who who that is, depending on who you are as a student athlete. Do you have measurable size? What are they looking for? Are they looking to get another corner? I can tell you right now, a lot of you receivers who went to camps as receivers, you saw how many receivers there were. If you play DB, perfected. I get more calls right now for defensive backs. Hey, we need DBs, man. DBs, because of the air raid, if they get their top receivers, they need DBs because they need guys that can cover these guys. So you guys that may be teetering on position, that may be another thing. There has to be a reevaluation of your recruiting by July. At the end of July, is it D1? Is it D2? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I was doing some studying this morning again. California, we have 11 schools. to go to Division One, between Division One and Division One AA in California. Again, no Division Twos. In California, Division Three, 6 schools. So a lot of the kids that are like to say, "Hey, I want to stay close. I want to be here. I want to be here." If you're not talking about preferred walk-on situations, if you're not being recruited, and those preferred walk-on situations, a lot of people are starting to understand those are even golden. Guys are being able to get quality guys, as opposed to in years past, you got a guy that you thought you might could develop. You're getting a guy that's a Division One guy is just saying, "Hey, because of the portal, because of what happened with the pandemic, I can walk on now," and guys are walking on. And parents are saying, "I just don't want him having to leave, the West Coast completely, or California completely, to play college football." So walk-ons have become a premium with college coaches in school. So I'm going to tell you, from right there, that's a real deal thing that's happening. Okay. The other one is, I would tell you, you want to reevaluate student athlete. There is nothing wrong with NAIA or Division Two or a Division Three school out of your state. One of my clients this week went to a junior day, and he realized, hey man, out of the 50-something thousand dollars, they're only talking about Pell Grant. They're not talking, and then the rest in loans. So they're not. He let me know again. He said, "Man, that's crazy. I never send my kid to school." Well, that's the average cost of a Division Three school in California. If you're not a full Pell Grant kid, EFC, if your estimated family contribution is 0, you can get full Pell Grant. And then there's loans and different things that you're going to have to take out. So a lot of the kids in California who have that mindset that they only want to stay here are putting themselves at a really tough, at a disadvantage in the recruiting process. It has to come back down to, I want to play at the next level. I want to be able to play, and I'll go play anywhere if that's the case. If you're not that guy, and it has to be D1, and it's D1 or bust, and you're not getting that information right now, enjoy your high school career. I'm not trying to kill your dreams. I'm just telling you the reality of the numbers. The reality of the numbers is that there's only 11 schools. And if you're not recruited by those 11 schools, and let me just tell you, those 11 schools are USC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, okay? Sac State, UC Davis, Cal Poly, and then I get lost. San Diego State, University of San Diego State. And then we got Sac State, UC Davis, Cal Poly, UCLA, USC, and we talking football programs. I don't know where we get 11 from. That's 9. So 9. Cal, Stanford, USC, San Diego, UC San Diego. Oh, Fresno State. Here it is. Fresno and San Jose. That's your 11 schools. So if you got 1 Mountain West, 2 Mountain West, 3 Mountain West, 3 Mountain West, and 1, 2, 3, 4 Pac-12, rest 1 AA, you're not being recruited by those 11 schools. Your next option of D2 automatically starts probably in New Mexico, Colorado, and in the Oregons and the Washingtons. That's where your schools are going to come from. If you're not recruited by D2, then your D3, you have 6 choices here in California: Redlands, Laverne, Kowloon, Pomona College, Harvey Mudd. Yeah, you got other ones, Chapman, and Redlands. So that's your 6. So you're talking about 17 opportunities in your backyard in California, and if those aren't schools that you one are getting recruited by, or you don't want to deal with, Whittier, there's another 18 Whittier schools that you're not that are going to be $50,000 to $60,000 of Division III school that you're going to have either have high academics and get a lot of academic money along with financial aid and then loans, because Division III schools do not give athletic scholarships. So you want to make sure those are things that you have absolutely an understanding of and what's going on. Okay. But prospect and a recruit. I want to make sure everybody understands that, what a prospect and what a recruit. So as camp season's over, you got to have a recruiting timeline. You see what's going on the ticker. I'm trying to make sure you guys understand that those are the things that are realistic. Okay. So let's talk about a prospect and a recruit, the difference. Parents, understand, a prospect is any student athlete that the coaches may have on a list with names, maybe measurables, school info, and maybe film. That's what a prospect is. That's all a prospect is. A prospect is not a recruit. Because you get invited to a camp, you may be a prospect whose name has been sold to a camp and you get to go to a camp. That's what it is. That's it. When you become a recruit, here is the difference between a recruit. A recruit is somebody, amen, that has phone calls, text messages from coaches, coaches following them and they have conversations with them in their DM, and they have film, they have their huddle, they get invites to certain camps. Like there was a invite only camp on Friday to UCLA. So a kid who says, well, UCLA is following me, but he wasn't invited to that camp and is graduating in the 2023 class. You might want to understand that right now, if you weren't invited to that, UCLA probably not going to look at you. They're not probably recruiting you. And that's what I mean by not wasting time and then coming back and reevaluating your recruiting in this in this process. And so you want to make sure, when you know there's only 18 schools, and if UCLA is on your list, and there's only 18 in California, and you're saying, hey, I get I want to stay in California. Okay, there's only 11 programs. And of those 11 programs, you're a 5'10" corner or 5'10" slot back, 160 pounds. What's going to make you recruitable by those 11 schools? And if UCLA is not recruiting you or USC is not recruiting you, I'm quite confident that Stanford and Cal, and they're not going to recruit you. Now, maybe San Jose. If San Jose State, and Fresno are not recruiting you, now we fall into the 1AA. We only have Cal Poly, Sac State, and UC Davis, and University of San Diego. Got another, 4 schools there. So you got to help me understand, from a real perspective, how this is going to happen. We have to, again, I'm back on again. I'm not going to get on the soapbox about changing the narrative and helping our student athletes understand the recruiting process, and that there are so many other schools out there. And what is the ultimate goal? If the ultimate goal is only if it's D1 or bust, then you can find out if you're a bust by the end of the 10th grade, 11th grade. You really can, if you're not going to go. And I know somebody's going, well, what about JC? And I'm telling you right now, I talk to JC coaches all the time. They're on my timeline. I love JC football. I think junior college football is a great place. I think really good coaches understand that there's some JC guys that are hungry, and they're not like the portal guy who was in the portal who thought, because he was a 5-star at a high school, that he's automatically going to be a 5-star after, from then on. I think that the bigger thing is that there's some hungry kids in JC, and if you go give those kids an opportunity, they'll come and run through a wall for you. But they have to be at a JC that they're learning and that they're preparing them for the next level. The number one thing in that, with those student athletes, are they ready to leave in December, early signing day? Coaches got to wait for you till June and July to finish classes. the likelihood of you getting out, the percentages go down because they're looking at 7,000 guys sitting in the transfer portal before they come and recruit you at the JC level. Regardless of what any JC coach will tell you, he wants to fill his roster with good guys. He wants to win. He's in it just like anybody else. The honest, most true JC coach will tell you, if you come in here and you take 15 units, and you are a qualifier out of high school, and you develop and you get on this field and you play on this field 75%, 85% of the time, you have a great opportunity to get out in one semester. The likelihood of you getting out in one semester of JC after playing, if you were, and you or not really playing and you were a qualifier, but school told you at the time you were coming out of high school, they didn't have any more scholarships. But if you go to JC, we'll keep our eye out on you. Those conversations, they're going to keep their eye out on you for 2 years. They're going to keep their eye out on you. If you're not ready to leave right away and you didn't play, meaning you didn't play the minutes, it's going to be hard for that coach to convince his coach to now take you off a high school film. The other thing with the camp, I want to reiterate to parents, if you are 2023 and they're telling you right now, hey, no, we're going, we really like you. We still got you on the board. We want to see you after your first 3 games. You better have that conversation with the actual coach that can pull the trigger. Because most of the coaches say, yeah, we're going to just check you out during the season. That can be just jargon. Because during the season, and I want to give you guys this, that's what that says down there. Parents, after camp season, have a recruiting timeline. Understand this part about recruiting. You better have a timeline. If a coach is telling you 5 games, I want you to look at your season, and it's end of August, early September. Your 5 games are 5 games into his season. How much of the time is he actually watching your film? You kids are going to send a mid-season huddle, 3, 4 games, 4 or 5 games of what you've done thus far, which is great. Here's the other side. Once you do that, of those 5 games, if that coach is actually really interested at that point, then that's where that offer should come at that point. If he's telling you, oh, we're gonna wait till the end of the season, the likelihood of that happening is likely not to happen, because at the same time you're starting, remember, they're a class of 2022, top 100, top 150, top 200, top 250, 300 athletes that are going into college, and a lot of them are going to get their bubble burst, and they're going to say, oh man, I picked the wrong school. And guess where they're going? In the transfer portal. And then they become the sexy, shiny object that has been on a campus that was just still, their name has a little residue on it, that they were good coming out of high school. They were recruited out of high school big time, but they picked Texas, or they picked Kansas, or they picked USC, and it wasn't the right school, or some other school, and they need to come. The minute that kid hits the portal and that kid plays your position, then that becomes competition for you as a high school athlete against that kid in the portal, as well as the JC guy. That kid becomes your competition for that scholarship. The issue becomes then, if coaches think they can win with that kid who has been in a camp on a college campus, maybe it was a coaching situation. Maybe the coaching staff or position coach that kid got recruited by got fired or decided to leave. What happens then? That kid goes in the portal. That kid becomes more recruitable than the next guy. And is it right? No, we don't say that it's right, but I'm just telling you, this is how they look at it. Well, that kid spent a semester. There was a reason why, Texas A&M picked him. We're going to pick him up. I remember him in high school, and he's still living off a little bit of that residue from high school. Here's the deal. The guy that's been in the portal, that may have gone in the portal, that's a grad transfer, becomes more valuable than the high school guy. He's bigger, stronger. He's older. He can possibly help that coach win right now, who's trying to save his job. What we're seeing and what you're seeing, and parents, you need to understand this, is coaches don't want to develop. There's a lot of guys that do not want to develop talent. And so They look for the guy that quote unquote is a 5-star, or he's ready to go right now. We can plug him in and he can play. It's the plug and play recruiter who says, I need a guy that can come in and go right now. Well, where's that guy? If that guy exists, coach, he find him, because 9 times out of 10, he's already on somebody's team, right? So parents understand development is the main thing. If you choose JC, don't just choose one that you can just get on the field right away. If it's going to be a 2-year process, develop in that process and let the chips fall where they may. If it's, I can go here and play right now, but you're not developing and you're not looking better, bigger, stronger, faster, more mature than the high school guy, they're going to go with the high school guy who they think they can develop that much to be way better than, than the next guy. So again, you got to change it. What do I mean by making sure that we change our recruiting timeline? Really work with our recruiting and our timeline when we're on there, right? Coming out of July, if what we're talking about has not been happening, conversations in the DM, talking with these coaches, realize this, man. At this point, I need to grab my list and say, okay, I was talking to a student athlete the other day. Hey, man, you got to start looking at it like, if this is what I'm going to do, okay, I like Oregon, Washington. I like schools in Oregon, Washington, Idaho. I want to open up to NAIA, D2, D3, whatever is going to be the best way to help pay for my school and me to go be able to play the sport I love. And that's the issue. The sport I love versus the sport I like. And here's a little bit of something for you. If you like it, you'll quit. You like it. If you don't get what you want, you're not gonna play. You're gonna put it in the corner and say, yeah, I'm gonna just kind of check this out. If you love it, you'll go play anywhere. If you love it, there's nothing wrong with Bethel College. There's nothing wrong with Friends University. There's nothing wrong. You see the value in the KCAC. You see the value in playing in Kansas at an AIA school with an opportunity to go at the end to a combine, maybe play USFL. This is the guys that love it. The guys you still see playing, chasing it because they love it and they know, hey, I got my degree. I want to get it out my system. I'm not going to be the guy working a job going, if I would have, could have, I should have went to the NAIA and I should have went and just played and let it pay for my school. But I should have did this because, you know what, my parents ended up having to pay, a whole lot of money for me to just go ahead and walk on, and it didn't happen. I was good enough to get a scholarship over here. And again, I want to educate parents. NAIA schools have scholarships. It is a combination of financial aid, grades, and athletics. Okay, when you look at schools that good friend Steve Broussard is at New Mexico. What's up, Coach Grimble? When you look at the school that Coach Steve Broussard is at now, Montana State Northern, there's a bunch of schools in that region and Nevadas, the Montanas, that carry something called the WUI loan. The WUI scholarship out the gate gives a kid out of state 3.0 or better or something like that, 2.7, $12,000. $12,000 gives them 12 grand out the gate. So if school is about 35, 40, they are automatically getting 12. That has nothing to do with academics, it does have academics, but it has nothing to do with their football money or financial aid. So again, if we start doing the math, 12 on a 40, I always use 40. I mean, I'm already down to 28,000. If I get another 7,000 from Pell Grant, I'm at 21 if I qualify. And if football comes in and gives me 12 or 15, school is now $6,000. 6,000 times 4 is 24,000 over 4 years. At the end of the day, and if you have any other scholarship money or money saved, school did not cost you a whole lot of money, and your kid got to go play at an NAIA school or a good, college, got his degree, and is able to go. Schools like Friends, schools like Montana State Northern with engineering programs, schools like Bethel, liberal arts school programs, guys that are maybe struggling, that are right there at that 2.8, not quite 3.0. There's still money out there for them, but you got to know how to go get it. You got to know what schools those are, and those schools aren't in California, guys. I'm sorry, we don't have the schools. Though I did a study today, if I could get in front of the board of directors from all the schools in the GSAC conference, the Golden State Athletic Conference, which would be Hope International and not Azusa, Arizona Christian and Ottawa, who have football, and we took our California schools and we made those NAIA football programs, we'd have a lot of kids probably stay home, play NAIA football, get degrees, and get out into the workforce. But because we don't have those programs, our kids have to leave the state. And that's just the reality. And we have to understand that that's just the reality. That's just the reality of what that's what's going on, right? And it's not, my coach is not doing any work. A high school coach would really literally have to do a whole lot of work to really help all the athletes. And I want to give it up to the high school coaches that, who do reach out, who are saying, "Hey, John, I got a kid here. Is there anybody that's looking?" I mean, I look at Coach Sheehy at Bakersfield High. He sent a kid to Lewis and Clark. Anybody knows about Lewis and Clark? Lewis Clark is one of the top academic schools on the West Coast. It has great academia and student athlete that's going to get to go. Is going to get a great education and get to play a sport he loves, and possibly when he's done, get an opportunity to continue to play, whether it be NFL, Canada, whether it be USFL, there's arena ball, whatever it is, he's going to get the opportunity to do it, as well as get his degree and maybe go on in there and be able to go into the workforce and be a great guy in the community. So a lot of that goes on. So again, you want to know the difference between it. You want to know if you're a prospect or a recruit. Recruits are actually having conversations. If you are a year out, and let me say this because I'm getting texts like, everybody wants to understand the offer. Offer. Let me say what a coach told me. And I get it. You only gonna pick one. You only get one. When that one comes, doesn't matter. Long as it comes, long as you get it, right? Long as you get the one offer. The offer, if that is the reason why you're playing and you go into camps, parents, and our kids become products of us, they cannot perform if they go in and they're not having fun, but they're so concerned with the offer. And I understand that we are dealing with in a day and time that it becomes, I call it parental recruiting anxiety. We are having a time in this thing, right? We're having a time because we know the amount of money. We love our children. We want to see them. We want to see them get recruited. The offer will come at the time it's supposed to come, and it'll come from the school that it's supposed to come from. Just do your very best not to shun any programs, any of the schools. You do not want to shun. You do not want to shun a Division I program. You don't want to shun. You're not going to shun a Division I program or NAIA program. Any school, have the conversation. Talk with the coaches. Talk with them about what's going on. Talk with them about their program and what your degree is. If you don't know what your degree is, that's probably half the problem. I don't know what I want to major in, so I don't even know how to even look at a school. That's what the benefits of working with a service is about. We can talk a little bit more and more about what your desire is. Okay, what it is. What is it that want to major in? What do you like? Let's find the right program, the right school for you. Okay. So anybody want to use California Recruits, you definitely can use California Recruits. We can do a free consultation, free Zoom meeting, talk with you. Any state. We just started TexasRecruits.com as well as Arizona Recruits. You can find us still with California Recruits and CARecruits.com. But we can go on and talk with you and talk to you as a prospect about what's, what your goals are and how we can help you with the whole recruiting process and get you through this to get you some money to go to school. 13 kids this year. We got going to a few NAIA schools. The other, we placed 28 or 29, 16 are Division II, Division I, all over the country. So we did a very good job. Our average recruiting numbers were $34,945 per student athlete per year. So our student athletes are absolutely doing a really good job in getting placed. And that's the goal for you as a parent. You want to get placed. You don't want to just sign up for anything. We are not a CRM system. We are not, a coach opens your email. No, we are designed, every student athlete is different. We talk to coaches. We get on the phone with coaches. You're going to get on the phone with coaches. We're going to give you what you need to say to coaches when they call you. So we want to make sure that you have an understanding of what the service actually does versus some of the other services that are CRM based, where they just put a database of schools in. Schools sign up with the service for free. They get to look at some kids. They open up your email and then they go, oh yeah, your email was open, but you've never really even talked to that coach. You don't have any type of relationship with that coach. Our goal is to help build those relationships with you, with those coaches. Okay. So I'm looking in the chat. I don't see it yet. Nobody's in the chat. Maybe because I'm on Restream today. A little different than Facebook. This is the Restream. I get to put the ticker and type in all this stuff. So that's why I did it. So again, guys, difference between a prospect and a recruit. Everybody's a prospect. Everybody's not a recruit. It's your boy Dejon Jernigan, Director of Recruiting, California Recruits. Got a couple more camps. I know USC camp is coming up this week, as well as UNLV. Get out there. I will tell you, USC, if it's your goal and your dream school, great. If you have measurables, if you've been watching, please watch how Lincoln Riley is recruiting. Please watch what he's doing. And if you're just not that measurable guy, you're kind of a tweener, I'm not telling you to not go. But if you have an opportunity to maybe go to a UNLV camp over USC and you're kind of picking the logo versus who I might have an opportunity to go play with, I'd probably go to the UNLV camp before I go to SC and just become another camper. Because I want to be a recruit. I just don't want to be a prospect. I don't want to be another guy with a T-shirt taking a bunch of photos and videos saying I was at the USC camp, because that's what it becomes. You guys look at the USC. I think we just had 2 commits, D-linemen commits the other day. He's building his team right now. He's talking about 25 guys on that team just came out of the portal. You have to watch the recruiting before you go jumping into these camps and parents paying the money, because that's his dream school. Great. And you just want him to be a camper to take pictures. It's awesome. Go. But if you realistically want to play at the next level, then you need to really think about which camps you're spending money and going to. It's going to give your kid an opportunity to possibly get an offer, possibly start the recruiting process with a school. So I would tell you in a heartbeat, if it's your goal, if you can get to USC, to UNLV, get to UNLV. Later in the year, in July, there's 2 more camps. Jay Norvell has been amazing at having a camp really late in July. He's going to have a camp at Colorado State, and there's going to be another camp in Nevada in July. Also, this weekend is San Jose and Cal on Sunday. So you have some choices. Some you other guys, JC guys. There's a post grad and junior college camp this Saturday at San Jose State at 6 o'clock. I will make sure I was at one of those camps so I can, go and let those guys, maybe some other schools that will actually be there. If you're a post-grad guy, I can tell you, give you a little bit of insight even right now. They're going to need DBs for next year. Know the coach very well. He's going to recruit DBs. If I was a JC guy, wouldn't be running over to, may not run over to SC, may not run over to Cal on Sunday, but I would most definitely look at UNLV, definitely look at San Jose. They are looking for DBs. This next year in the 23 class, they're probably going to take 3, maybe 2 high school, 1 portal, maybe 2 portal, 1 high school, maybe 2 JC guys. I would go. That would be somewhere that I would go, and I would be a prospect on. It's $30. It's still open. It's online right now. So anybody watching, that's where I would definitely check that camp out. But definitely check out UNLV. You're a USC type guy, go to USC. If you're a visual guy that can run it long, and I will say Coach Riley is a developer. He wants to develop guys. A coach in the top program, so he gets the cream of the crop. He can go recruit whoever he wants and recruit. So I would tell you as somebody else, but if you're a measurable guy, if you're 5, shorter guys that play slot or running back, look at what he just recruited. Just recruited Ray Lee Brown. Just got one of the top running backs in the country from modern day. Just got 2, one from Oregon. Some of the best talent. You strategically figure out where you want to go, and that's one of those things that we did earlier in this year when we talked about making sure when you're with a service, we kind of want to guide you in what camps you should be attending versus just being a camper and spending a ton of money on camps. Okay, just because of the logo. Oh my God, I'm going to the Oregon camp. Yeah, but what's in it for me, right? What's in it for me? How is it going to help me, my recruiting, by going there? As I close you, 9th graders, I will tell you again that what is it? I was sharing with you guys last time about how social media is going. Well, a lot of you parents are waiting. When should I start? I shouldn't start right now. Recruiting starts from the time you step on the high school field or the year prior. If you're an 8th grader going into the 9th grade, 7th grader going to be an 8th grader, you need to make sure that your social media and your online presence is something that people can find out. You're a 9th grader, you don't have high school film yet. You don't even have varsity film. What can you be doing? Well, you can be making sure that if you're working out with a top-notch trainer, your phone is on. Your phone is always on deck. You have a minute to 2 to 3 minutes of video from you training that you can cut up and drop 1 to 2 videos per day for 4 days straight. You're also on TikTok and Instagram. It's all football, talking about your grades, doing some other stuff. You got to help yourself build your online presence is your goal for right now. And if you're not doing that, you need to get with somebody that knows how to do that. Or again, sign up with a service, and we'll show you how to make sure that your name is constantly out there. People are seeing you. Schools are seeing you from across the country. We realize that not until September 1st of your junior year can Division I schools follow you. But guess what? Division III, NAIA schools, you can be tagged on other people's page. You can tag other Division I guys that are older than you. So coaches are taking note. Man, I remember that kid when he was younger. I'm going to keep my eye out. If you're not doing that, you're missing the boat. There's somebody that is always doing the right thing, getting on Twitter, getting on social media, doing the things that they need to do to let coaches know that they exist. Okay? And so if you're not doing that, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and you're going, well, my high school coach said this, and da 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 da. Okay. And let me say this in closing. I'm sorry, I have to say this. If a college asks you to come to a camp specifically, they say to you, we would like to see you at our camp. It's a few things that they are saying. They want to see you at camp, and they want to see you on their campus. There are a lot of guys, one of my good friend coaches tell me all the time, there are a lot of guys that cannot pull the trigger as far as offer you. Some head coaches like to use the term, I like to make sure that kid's been on campus. I want to make sure we built a relationship with the kid. I want to do yada, yada, yada. By you going to camp and being there, you have alleviated one of the things that coaches may use to keep from giving you the offer. Oh, yeah, we want to get you on campus. I've been on campus. Oh, okay, yeah, we want you to come to camp. I've been to camp twice. I want this becomes that thing to help you control your recruiting. I want to stay in control. I don't want the ball in their courts. Stop smiling so much that you're on this campus, that if you're a recruit, you understand this. I'm in prospect mode. I've been there. I'm trying to get to be a recruit. I've done everything you've asked me to do, coach. What else is that you guys need to see? Put the ball, make sure you're controlling your recruiting, but by asking the right questions and doing the right things. But if a coach asks you to come, then you need to do the proper protocol. My ministry, there's a protocol. And that protocol is going to my high school coach and saying, Coach, I have been invited by this coach. His name is yada, yada, yada. He follows me on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. He asked me to be there on campus. If then, mom and dad, your coach says, well, if you go and we have 7-on-7, or we have something we were doing here, you're not showing the team that you're a team guy. Always remember, my response is, Coach, if you don't have the money to pay for my son to go to school, then you're not being a team guy. My last name is Jernigan, and your last name is something else. So until you're going to pay for this young man to go to school, we're going to camp. And teams don't recruit. Colleges don't recruit the entire team. They recruit individuals that they see that are playing on the team. So I'm doing the proper thing by going to you and having a conversation with you, asking you that I'm going to miss this day, which is not in the season. It's summer. It's recruiting season, the month of June. And if you put 7-on-7 in June on certain days, you have to know that you're probably going to miss guys who are prospects on your team. That's not fair to the family or not fair to the student athlete to tell that kid he cannot go to a camp or some measly local 7-on-7 that has nothing to do with their recruiting. So parents, again, there's a way you do it. You follow that protocol by trying to talk to that coach. And because that coach, 90% of these coaches say, well, how did he set that up? Why is that coach calling him and not calling me? Because it's not 1980, it's not 1970, coach. Coaches don't call you anymore to talk to kids. They talk to kids throughout the year at 7-on-7 and on Twitter and Instagram and other avenues. Then they talk to you. It is not the old days where they go to the coach and say, hey, we're really interested in that guy, number 6 on your team. No, they don't do that anymore. They don't have to. They have a connection with these coaches, kids throughout Twitter and Instagram. And so they have that. And by coaches not doing that, they're not being fair to the student athlete. And I just want to make sure I say that because I have a situation with a student athlete that was able to go somewhere and his coach wasn't didn't allow him to go. And so I just want to make sure we cover that, okay? That we cover that. So I don't know. I'm looking to see if I have any questions today. It sounds choppy. It sounds distorted. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Armand Hawkins, what are you laughing at? Where you been? Where you been? I'm gonna call you because nobody saw you. I thought they thought you was Jimmy Hoffa, is what I heard. I said, man, no, he ain't Jimmy Hoffa. He around. He's bucket list traveling. So have a good day, guys.